The timeline of Dune spans thousands of years, during which many a great power rose and fell across the universe. After the Boltarian Jihad, which was the war against the thinking machine spanning from 201 to 108 BG, seeing the end to the first rule of the AI Omnius, humanity departed from their origins of Earth and other colonies to found the Corino Empire, which ruled from 88 BG until 10193 AG and the birth of the Atreides Empire. During the period of the Corino rule, aside from the great houses of the Landsraad, which made up the nobility and political landscape of the empire, three great organizations worked within the halls of power and from the shadows to manipulate fate and destiny as they saw fit. These three groups were the Bene Gesserit, the Bene Tleilax, and the Spacing Guild, each one vying for control and influence, with goals either meant to benefit themselves or humanity as a whole. While their purpose and endgames remained separate, their desires to evolve humanity through both genetic manipulation and the use of the spice melange remained similar, so that humanity would never again give rise to the threat of thinking machines. The Bene Gesserit. Coming into existence shortly after the end of the Boltarian Jihad, the Bene Gesserit Sisterhood inserted themselves into the political schemes of the Corino Empire and the Landsraad. Serving as advisors, mediators, and instructors, the Sisterhood soon became indispensable to the nobles who relied on them in almost all matters of politics. To facilitate their control, the Sisterhood, along with the Bene Tleilax, was also a silent controlling partner in the combined Honnet Ober Advancer Mercantiles, or CHOAM, the economic engine of the empire. All of this was but a pretext so that the Sisterhood could progress in their dream of creating an all-powerful being known as the Kwisatz Haderach, through whom a path of stability and growth for humanity would be created. To achieve this goal, the Bene Gesserit implemented a selective breeding program within the great houses, manipulating the bloodlines of the nobility with the sole purpose of producing this super being. More often than not, participants in the breeding program were forced under duress to participate, the perfect example being the mating between Baron Vladimir Harkonnen and the Reverend Mother Gaius Helen Mohaim to produce the Lady Jessica Atreides. Jessica broke the line and ruined the breeding plans of the Sisterhood when she chose, out of love, to give Duke Leto Atreides a son instead of a daughter, as she had been instructed. To accomplish their goals creating a Kwisatz Haderach, the Bene Gesserit used the spice to evolve their minds and their bodies. Through use of the spice and the water of life, they developed the ability to pass on genetic memories from one Reverend Mother to another, thus allowing for all their thousands of years of knowledge to seamlessly pass from one generation to the next. It was, of course, through this effort they discovered that only the female side of genetic memory was unlocked, and they were unable and even afraid to see the male side, thus fueling their desire to birth a Kwisatz Haderach. Through use of the spice, the Sisterhood was also granted numerous extrasensory abilities such as the voice, which could compel untrained individuals to obey them, internal organ and blood control down to the cellular level, extrasensory perception to sense the difference between truth and lies, and enhanced fighting style known as the Weirding Way. Like any well-constructed organization, the Bene Gesserit consisted of a rigid hierarchy, beginning with the Reverend Mother Superior, who maintained total control over the Sisterhood and its machinations. Below her was the Kwisatz Mother, who monitored the breeding program. The Reverend Mothers, who survived the water of life and served across the empire in various roles, were meant to further the goals of the Sisterhood. Regular sisters of the Bene Gesserit took on functioning roles such as agents of secrecy, concubines for breeding program, and potential wives to secure the stability of the Landsraad. And lastly, initiates who dreamed of joining the ranks of the Sisterhood after years of rigorous training. The Bene Tleilax. Unlike the Bene Gesserit, the Bene Tleilax, or Tleilaxu, were more insular in their efforts to achieve their goals for safeguarding humanity's future. Finding their origins from a Buddhism offshoot known as Zen Sunni, the Tleilaxu were quite religious, though they hid it from the wider universe. Where the Sisterhood strove to insert themselves throughout all corners of the Corino Empire, the Tleilaxu chose to remain mostly on their homeworld of Tleilax, where they conducted their genetic experiments with the goal of immortality. Their dream of immortality would blossom under the creation of Golas, genetic clones grown in the female human incubators known as axolotl tanks. While the Bene Gesserit used the spice and water of life to create a never-ending chain of genetic memory, the Bene Tleilax eventually unlocked the secrets of genetic memory using trauma, and later using extreme pleasure to awaken the dormant memories of Agola's original incarnation. Through the many lives and Golas of Duncan, Idaho during the reign of God Emperor Leto II, this method of immortality would become indisputable. Tleilaxu's social structure was very simple in its function. The Tleilaxu masters ruled over their society as the wielders of genetic manipulation, regularly the keepers of all important genetic information and samples gathered from across the empire, including their own. As mentioned before, all Tleilaxu females were transformed into brain-dead, misshapen breeding incubators known as axolotl tanks, used to grow the race and Golas. Far into the future, axolotl tanks would also be modified to grow artificial spice. Filling out the ranks of Bene Tleilax society were the face dancers. Serving as warriors and the worker class, face dancers were also capable of limited shapeshifting, which served them well in espionage activities against the other powers of the empire. The Spacing Guild. Born from the scientific endeavors of Norma Senva after the Voltarian Jihad, the Spacing Guild came into being as the means through which all space travel became possible in the universe during the Carino Empire. Through experimentation and direct exposure to the spice, Norma Senva transformed herself into the first navigator. Combined with her experience in creating the Holtzman device for space folding and building space folding ships, Norma Senva used her spice-evolved form to master folding space with her mind alone. She would eventually evolve further and become the entity known as the Oracle of Time and play a crucial role in saving humanity from the final assault of Omnius and the thinking machines. In 1 BG after her great-great-grandson Joseph Venport's assassination of Emperor Salvador Corino, her negotiations as the Oracle of Infinity with Emperor Roderick Corino led the Empire to work with her to create the Spacing Guild and protect all current and future navigators from harm. In the thousands of years to come, the Spacing Guild would develop and maintain a monopoly over interstellar travel as the only beings capable of folding space and making sure all commerce throughout the Empire could continue unhindered. Meaning, unless you acquiesce to their demands and desires, there would be no travel. And for the Guild, their entire existence and continued evolution of their navigators meant that no matter what, the spice had to flow. There could never be a threat to the spice production or distribution, which was why Paul Atreides was capable of eventually manipulating them into betraying House Carino and supporting House Atreides. Much like the Bene Gesserit used the spice to evolve their bodies and their minds, the navigators of the Guild, following Norma Senva's methods, used a gaseous form of spice to evolve themselves into what was known as Guild Navigators. While other functional roles such as administrators, attendants, and ambassadors existed within the Guild, all members strove to rise through the hierarchy to evolve into a navigator, even at the expense of becoming totally dependent on the spice for the rest of their eternity. The Bene Gesserit, the Tleilaxu, and the Spacing Guild were quite comfortable in their roles of power during the era of the Carino Empire, plotting, scheming, controlling the direction of humanity alongside a willing, for the most part, ruling class. They were unprepared for the complete and total loss of power that would come with the rise of the Atreides Empire, where once they flourished unfettered, both Paul Muad'Dib Atreides and later his son, the God Emperor, the Tyrant, Leto II, would utterly crush their hopes and desires as the Atreides forced humanity to walk the golden path. But that is a lesson for another time.
Hey, yo, are you feeling what I'm doing up in here? Oh, I know you are. Do you miss all the good, compelling stories that we used to get back in Hollywood that they ain't putting down no more? Oh, I know you missing it. So check out my book series, Odyssey of a Phoenix, a mythological epic about philosophy, morality, and modern-day mental illness issues, baby. Book 1, Down in Flames. Book 2, Apocalypse Then. These are currently on sale. What are you waiting for? Get your hands on them. And we got Book 3, Kill the Dark, is coming down the pipeline. Just wait for all the good stuff that's dropping. You ain't gonna be disappointed, fam.